Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the second upper bracket series of the day. We have returned and we will be playing out M2KC, that's Jamili's roster, the RM Paladin mostly, against Resurgent, formerly known as Never Lucky Kolo's team, who've also won a cup playing the RM Paladin. I'm Healing Stat hosting for you. We have Venruki Supertees and Zico on the desk for this one. We're halfway through the day, 3 series down, 3 to go. 2 more teams still need to be eliminated today, but first we must find our team to play against the move that played fantastically earlier. I personally would love to see Jamili versus Peekaboo. It's always a great one, but Kolo's definitely not going to let that happen easily.
I mean, this is the thing. For Resurgent, the team formerly known as Never Lucky, a patch like this is really interesting, at least for me, for this team, because they're the team that is always willing to experiment, try out different compositions, and I'm really curious to see what Kolo really has up his sleeves. Like you kind of alluded to before the commercial break, we had a chance to actually play with him yesterday, and we were asking him, are you going to go for that Rogue Mage Paladin mirror? Obviously, that would be something we want to see, but he was not giving us any. He didn't trust us at all. He didn't want to give us any information, and I'm curious to see what they're going to be leading with. M2KC, they could be mind gaming a little bit. I mean, they probably know Resurgent most likely feels like they're going to be running that Rogue Mage Paladin. We have seen Rosita Jones actually be tagged in on that Frost Mage. They've been practicing the Rogue Mage Druid quite a bit, so I don't think Resurgent knows exactly what's coming their way. M2KC could keep them guessing, and this is actually really interesting from the poll results.
Yeah, there's a resurgence in the polls here. M2KC, who I actually honestly thought, based on their last couple of cup performances, would be doing pretty well, are down, and this is the blind pick, bear in mind. Neither team knew what the other one was locking in on the Grand Arena. The RM Paladin from M2KC and Major Din bringing in the Warlock, which we did see a bit on Wednesday.
Resurgent already knows what happens to a Destruction Warlock and Dampening against Assassination Rogue after watching Chanimal fall to them in earlier cups.
That's a good point.
I don't know why they would lock the Destruction Warlock into this team when they know they have Roasties on the roster.
Sid, I do gotta ask though, do you really think Jamili is going to go for a Kolo's type strategy of the RM Paladin?
I mean, maybe. It works, it works.
I would bet no, but anyways.
All right, here we go. Valido seems to be the target of choice early on. I think it's unlikely they go after Majiden until at least later on in Dampening. The Destruction Warlock just has so much self-healing, so much passive defense that I think M2KC knows this. They realize Valido probably the only target that they can go after, at least initially. Sheep over on a Majiden, an aggressive playstyle coming in from M2KC. This is what they're known for. Hammer of Justice on Kolo, Kidney Shot on Valido, Polymorph on Majiden. Good crowd control, good attempt here coming in from the team of M2KC. Resurgent forced to actually use the Trinket of Kolo. Oh, no Trinket now. That was a fair trade for the blind, but now without that available, I mean, Valido still has some defense he could fall back onto, of course, with the Astral Shift. He's going to have some defense that he can use. Big attempt here now onto Roasties.
All right, big attempt onto Roasties. Evasion activated for the Infernals. Can be dodging at 2 Infernals at the same time, thanks to the Vision of Perfection. A new essence, and this Destruction Warlocks love it because you get a ton of Infernals, and what Warlock doesn't love more demons? Majin looking to maximize his damage during this moment in time, as Infernal does increase the damage of the Chaos Bolts that they dish out. Kolo getting swapped to by M2KC, getting a bit aggressive and cheeky here. Let's see what they can do. Kolo down at half, still getting tunneled down, but Roasties forced to retreat. Rubcub with a quick pick-me-up though, getting Roasties back into the battle.
Yeah, Roastie's going to be full health, looking to continue the assault onto Valido. Is he going to be able to get it done? Jamili looking for some fireball cast, still consistently building up the damage. Kind of wondering what build Jamili's playing right now. He is going to be playing the short combustion build, so he is going for that fire starter honor talent. Every time he uses a fireball, it takes 5 seconds off the cooldown of combustion. And you can see with combustion active now, they're getting a lot of pressure rolling. So having that often in the matchup is going to allow the team just a lot of consistent burst. Kolo is able to stabilize Valido's health, keep him alive. Fear now over onto Rubcub, Jamili into a Hex. Good diffusal of that situation coming in from Resurgent. They need these defensive plays, but the thing is, Sid, I don't know where the opening is for Resurgent. Who are they going to go after? Who's the main target? Do you think they're actually going to be able to take Roasties down?
I think if he is maybe a bit aggressive, yes, but if not, then no. And then the question then becomes, in Dampening, where is the advantage given? Is it the mana can the Holy Paladin keep up with the Druid? I think that they can. It then becomes which class is the most viable in the match. I think it's the Destruction Warlock, their limited mobility, the reduction of healing and dampening onto their Soul Leech, and the reduction in healing from the Restoration Druids. I think at a certain point, Majidin just gets overwhelmed and ends up getting taken out. So the only other way that I see Resurgent winning is maybe a situation like this where Roasties overextends without very many cooldowns. Definitely needs to be aware of that situation and not give up the match, because certainly in the late game, M2KC are favored.
Yeah, M2KC will be able to just pick a target and run them over. We've seen that from Assassination Fire Mage in the past, especially with the Paladin. It's just so much consistent damage. Another attempt here. Colo gets caught into a blind. He trinkets out. He actually preemptively Iron Bark Valido. He does manage to get some healing off in that Iron Bark to keep Valido a little bit stable, but these consistent setups coming in from M2KC. I mean, we're not even at dampening yet. Colo already 50% mana. Valido getting low consistently throughout this game. Actually, a Polymorph sneaks in there by Jamili. Another combustion comes in. Big damage from M2KC. Valido has to use his Astral Shift. And now look at this. This is a recipe for success from M2KC. You want the recipe to take down a team like Resurgent. You get the Trinket with Blind. You get the Astral Shift. Valido, he's got no Trinket. All they need is one good triple crowd control setup, and they're going to be able to bake up a victory here. Speaking as a baker, I know. Valido now into a kidney shot. He's at around 30% health. Do they have the crowd control on Colo? It doesn't look like it just yet.
But his mana is not looking too hot, and that's actually a bit surprising considering the new essences every Restoration Druid has been running in the tournament. The Memory of a Lucid Dream and the Ever Rising Tide. It would be an impressive feat for M2KC to actually tap Colo out on mana, about 16 seconds away from dampening, which kind of has been the name of the game here in the North American region. Lightning Lasso, big hits. RubCub forced to exchange one of his most valuable cooldowns to save Roasties. That Blessing of Sacrifice redirecting damage to RubCub instead, along with the Honor Talent, the Ultimate Sacrifice, redirecting 100% of the damage. But Colo's in crowd control. Valido's in trouble. No Astral Shift. He's on the run using that Demonic Gateway, but Pack Spirit was reduced in effectiveness for all specializations of Shaman, so Valido can't simply rely on that for the fight, and maybe he is actually the better target, at least before dampening. It's something that M2KC are looking to exploit, but once again, Resurgent with a clean setup, a 3-on-1, Lightning Lasso on Roasties, big Earth Elemental stun as well, while RubCub was in a Cyclone. That nets them the Avenged Crusader and the Cloak of Shadows, exactly what they wanted. But now that those cooldowns are active, M2KC are unlikely to die until the next crowd control attempt, which means they can be aggressive, and they're using that moment of time to go after Valido, blinding up Colo and getting his Gladiator's Medallion. Both teams trading effectively. I would say that M2KC are still in the lead. RubCub with Divine Shield to break out of the next crowd control chain. But after that, maybe not. Cycloned up, unfortunately, on diminishing return. Lightning Lasso still a big threat. Rosty's going to faint right afterwards to try and reduce the strength of the Earth Shock damage. Now he recovers, he pushes forward, pops Vendetta, looking for the kill. What's Valido going to do in this position? Looks like just running around the pillar, holding on to that Astral Shift, although I feel like it would have been a fair trade for the Vendetta here. Doesn't look like it's the Vision of Perfection Vendetta from Roasties. It's up for some time. Usually you would see Astral Shift traded 1-for-1 with that. Valido gets away with it, but I'm not sure if it's... I guess it wasn't really necessary. It's fine that he gets away with it. It's really just costing Colo mana. Perhaps later down the road, if Colo runs out, this moment in time, it would have been more favorable for Valido to trade. Resurgent set up crowd control, Lightning Lasso, Mortal Coil, but gets deflected entirely by RubCub. Both teams equalize here, and dampening continues to rise.
RubCub is doing surprisingly well on mana. I mean, we're at 12% dampening. He's at 80% mana. He's easily keeping his team alive, and maybe this composition, the Rogue Mage Paladin, is another one of those comps in 8.2 that is going to be rising to the top, because this seems really good. Resurgent is struggling to find any sort of pressure. You can see Jamili has Combustion up. Here's a full Cyclone onto RubCub, a nice attempt onto Roasties. Jamili shuts that down with the Dragon's Breath on Majidin, and Roasties ultimately should survive. A huge heal from RubCub, immediately topping him off, and this is crazy. This Paladin is able to put out a lot of HPS. Resurgent has really been struggling to find pressure so far in the matchup. No one's had to use too many defensive cooldowns. It's a full Hammer of Justice onto Colo. Kidney shot on Valido. Another attempt here by M2KC. Massive damage coming in from Jamili, RubCub, and Roasties. Valido barely holding on. Colo looking for regrowth. Finds a Cyclone onto RubCub. Trying to shut down some of that Holy Paladin damage. Hacks on Jamili. Good control from the team of Resurgent to survive. But that's all they're doing at this point, Sid. All they're doing is surviving. They're kind of just getting walked over in this game.
Yep, they are most certainly just getting walked over now. Mana almost completely tapped out for Colo. It's not looking good, and this is where I was criticizing Resurgent. They already know what happens because they beat Cloud9's Destruction Warlock with the Assassination Rogue. Why would they play it in willingly? They knew M2KC would run this. M2KC is pretty much all they run. I think this is a big blunder by Resurgent on the blind pick. That or they're desperate. They don't know what to do in 8.2, and they were just kind of throwing this against the wall and hoping that it would stick. But throwing away the blind pick means you lose the swing match advantage, which means should this go back and forth to Game 5, M2KC will pick the map, and they'll know what composition is coming their way should Resurgent figure something out. But if they can't figure out something, then maybe M2KC just clean this up 3-0. Double stun combo initiated by M2KC. Jamili blinks in for follow-up, gets denied by Valido with the grounding totem. Great teamwork by Resurgent. They break the chain. The only reason Valido is even still alive, but look at Colo's mana, absolutely 0. He's relying on those essences to give him some mana, but he gets smoke bombed on his regrowth. He runs into the smoke bomb. Is there crowd control for him? Valido's on the run, but he's getting overwhelmed, and maybe the Destruction Warlock can just be ignored now after Pack Spirit has been reduced. Valido seems vulnerable, retreating away with that Astral Shift, barely holding on. Colo tries to get a clone, it gets interrupted. They use the Demonic Gateway, but Colo's still interrupted. Rosty's got Blessing of Freedom. He's going to shadow step over, stun Valido. Spell Steal takes all of the heal over time effects. Valido is completely by himself. Colo and Hammer of Justice, Maged and interrupted. Rosty's looking to close this out. M2KC, total domination in Game 1.
Yep, very clean. I mean, 27% dampening wasn't even too much, honestly, required by the RM Paladin here. We kind of scratched the surface there. RubCub was having no issues. And, I mean, for Colo's team, you know, they play the RM Paladin. They should know the strengths and weaknesses of this comp. Clearly, Lockshaman Druid isn't one of them.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you guys. The blind pick really didn't make much sense from Resurgent, but it's interesting, at the end of that game, they actually didn't land like a polymorph or a Ring of Frost ever on Colo. I mean, like here, Jamili goes for the Ring of Frost, gets shut down, goes for the polymorph, gets grounded. Then, just from the Hammer of Justice, Valido is super low on HP, and Colo doesn't have much mana to work with, you know? Gets smoke bombed on that regrowth cast. Combust gets used way too late with that Astral Shift from Valido. And, I mean, even if he Astral Shifts a little bit sooner, Colo just doesn't have enough mana to keep him alive here. You know, Colo gets kicked, and then he's gonna get Hammer of Justice again, and that's the game. Like, this entire time, I don't even think Jamili should be going for CC. He could just chase and do damage, honestly, because he gets stopped again on the ring, gets stopped on the polymorph, and there it is. Gets the kill anyway.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things I think as well is that we normally talk about, like we have been talking about this kind of vision of perfection essence. No, I'm not talking about Super T's here. I'm talking about
time.
Essence.
About time.
I don't like your joke anymore.
Yeah.
It's over.
Okay, it's over, sure. We've done all 3. We're done with that joke. It's good.
Thank you.
But talking about the actual essence, the vision of perfection, it's actually really good on the Holy Paladin. So for like the Resto Druid, it gives you tranquility, not that effective in PvP. But here, since RubCub's running the Avenging Crusader, I actually believe he gets the Avenging Crusader as opposed to the Avenging Wrath for 7 seconds when it procs. And that's why his mana's so good, because Judgment costs no mana, Crusading Strike costs no mana. He just has this consistent healing to keep his team aggressive. It seems so smart in this comp.
That seems really good.
Yeah.
When we play, you need to do that.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I don't even have that trait on my Paladin.
Well, you need to get it.
Unlock that,
You need to do some work, Adrian.
Yeah, I need to get back to grinding.
I mean,
he's not going to play with me anymore.
It didn't feel like there was any pressure against M2KC the entire
really.
game. Like, literally, normally when you see a composition like the Elemental Shaman Destruction Warlock, there's damage all over the place. You know, people are getting low. The enemy team has to play defensive, but M2KC did whatever they wanted the entire game. No one was under fire. Jamili never ice blocked. I think Roasties may have Cloak of Shadows once offensively. You know, RubCub didn't have to use anything. It was actually pretty insane to see. Yeah,
it was so clean. And against Lockshaman Druid, it's a scary composition, especially when the Warlock's just summoning Infernal left, right, and center.
Yeah, it seems like RubCub might be ahead of the curve again.
Seems good.
Yeah, it seems good there from RubCub. I don't know. Well, M2KC going to have 0 hesitation locking in once again the same composition. Mugambala is the choice from Resurgent. Resurgent, the good news is they have a plethora of options available to them. They could mirror. They could go for some
mirror.
They could do whatever they want. We want the mirror, but I mean, if we say mirror, then that means we think there's no composition potentially that can beat our Impala consistently. There must be something they could run. some cleave.
Windwalker Death Knight, I think,
Yeah,
as well.
I was gonna say a DK.
And this is the Windwalker Death Knight team in North America, certainly one of them.
I think the compositions that I've seen so far that do pretty well into RM Paladin are Windwalker Death Knight and Jungle. Like, those are the compositions I think are really good against the Assassination Fire Paladin. But other than that, I don't know. So maybe Resurgent, they need to start busting out that Windwalker Death Knight once again.
I mean, if they feel pretty confident on it, I would have thought. Like in spring season, I believe that was the comp they played in like 70-80% of their games. They played so much of this comp, you'd think that if they thought it was good, they would play it, right, Sid?
I think it's, I don't know. With this new build, I mean, they're going to try it. With this new build of Holy Paladin, I didn't even consider the Avenging Crusader substituted out with the Vision of
I'm not
Perfection.
100% sure on it. I was trying to watch in the game and I didn't see it, but I saw one proc at the end, which I'm pretty sure was the AC. Even if it's not, it's Avenging Wrath for 7 seconds, which is basically top someone.
And it's also a huge boost to damage. I mean, Judgment with Avenging Wrath is probably 30, with 445 item level.
He's also running 3 Indomitable Justice as well. So
every once in a while, one
judgments.
hammer is just way bigger than every other hammer. That's a lot of extra damage that the composition they're running didn't have an 8.1.5. So these matchups that were difficult for them before may not be because of that added damage from the Vision of Perfection. I'm curious to see how this plays out, because if it was 8.1.5, I'd probably be saying, yeah, Resurgent, they win this matchup. But now, it's not so clear.
It really isn't. I mean, I'm watching this carefully because, as Venruki said, my Paladin is straight after this broadcast going to farm out this essence so we can do this, because it's looking pretty strong here for M2KC. It'll be curious to see if other teams jump on board the ship, assuming Resurgent do lose this next game. But this would be the ultimate test, right? Like a Windwalker with the mobility he has on Mugumbala. If anything's going to survive against the RM Paladin, it would be this composition here from Resurgent.
Yeah, the composition has great survivability, they have great disruption, and they also have, you know, Windwalker DK can just sit on a Fire Mage and generate a lot of pressure. So I think RUBCUB is going to be a lot more stressed in this match compared to the previous match, where he was kind of just being able to push in for Hammer of Justice whenever he wanted and kind of able to do whatever he wanted in the game in general. I mean, he even outmanaged Colo on the Resurgent.
Yeah,
not really
significantly.
Not really something that we see that often, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this matchup plays out. In the past, at least, before 8.2, it has been favored towards the Windwalker DK, but since they didn't lock it in the blind, it's making me second guess it a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Obviously, Resurgent won't have been happy with that first game. Very one-sided in favor of M2KC. These kitty cats coming in with the claws out and the hammers out. The inner Thor coming in from RUBCUB here, as he has been doing a tremendous amount of damage for his team and a tremendous source of healing, quite frankly, as they take a clean game 1, looking to do the same in game 2.
I mean, in the last game, Zico pointed out, M2KC basically just won the game with damage. They just attacked, and eventually we saw Valido fall over. There's just a Hammer of Justice. Dragon's Breath of these little micro CCs was enough for them to close out the game. I'm interested to see the build that Jamil is going to be playing. He is going with the Kleptomanian once again. He's going for that Firestarter build where he goes for the short combustion. I think it's a great choice. In a matchup like this, it's just so unlikely he gets off a greater Pyroblast. So I think just going for the Fireball spam, going for the consistent combustions is definitely a good option. Ooh, this is an interesting start. There is an opportunity here for M2KC to just all-in Colo if they really want to.
Well, it looks like they want to. They're in position. They got Valido in a Polymorph, Zach in a Ring of Frost, all 3 members in crowd control. It's do or die. It's an all-in. Will Colo cry? Huge damage. I'm not sure if it's enough, but it's not. M2KC get the perfect opener. Now 2-0.
Colo down goes, I suppose. Is that the fastest game we've ever seen in AWC? I actually think they might have beaten your record with that one. That was
definitely
really
not.
fast,
no one can touch my record.
No one can die as fast as Venruki.
Yeah.
Okay, from combat starting, was that faster?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, you died too quickly.
I died in
yeah, okay. You're proud of that.
I mean, I'm not that proud of it, but at least give me that for all.
Okay.
All the guff people give me, at least give me my record.
All right, yeah, we won't take that away from you. But I mean, Zico, we're going to basically watch the whole game here. Break it down for us.
Yeah, let's watch the whole game here. This is like Colo's nightmare. He has to rewatch the worst experience that you can get as a Resurgent. Gets found, of course, sapped, and then he's going to get resapped to allow the entirety of M2KC to get here. Sheep shot onto Zach to stop him from being able to incapacitate. Kidney shot, and of course, Hammer of Justice. Trinkets out out way too late, uses both of his skins, but just too slow of a response there from M2KC. Honestly, they should just trinket immediately, or Zach should just trinket immediately, which would have been even better. He can just trinket. He's already on top of Roasties. Leg sweep him if he trinkets. In cap, done. The setup is over. Colo's gonna survive. Then after that, just play Windwalker DK. You still have your Touch of Karma. You're gonna be good.
Do you think that Death Knight should trinket in the opener based on the cooldowns that were used?
I mean, someone should trinket in the opener.
Combustion was used and nothing else. It makes sense the Death Knight trinkets anti-magic zones.
You know what was the problem there is, I think Colo was relying on Safeguard. And Jimmy
he just kleptoed it instantly.
Yeah, that's my Safeguard, yep. So Colo's going to get finished very early on, and this is the problem for Resurgent, is they tried this new composition, and do they really get to see if it worked or not? I don't think so. I mean, that was a horrible game from them. It's an unfortunate thing that he got caught in stealth. Hats off to M2KC. They played it out exactly what they needed to do, finding the Druid, and they capitalized on that situation, gave them a quick win. Now they're up 2-0 in the series, and Resurgent, they basically have to go back to the drawing board. Do they want to try that composition again? I feel like they should. Normally the game doesn't play out like that as the Windwalker Death Knight Restoration Druid, so I want them to keep their faith in that composition. They could go to a large map once again, but I don't know. Do you actually think the large map like Mugambala plays into the favor of Windwalker Death Knight?
I think it's very hard to tell based on that game. Certainly, I think we've been playing too much with Joe Fernandez as well. He's like, he's finished.
Yeah.
It's insta coming out there. But M2KC 2-0 up. They're looking to have as stellar of a performance as the Move, and they could meet each other on Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mew Mew Kitty Cats are one game away from Championship Sunday. Both them and the Move currently sit tied for 5th and 6th in the standings, and if they can both qualify through to a guaranteed top 3, that blows the entirety of North America wide open when it comes to qualification for summer.
All right, let's see if they can do it. This might be the return of the Move and the return of the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. They've both been having, I would say, a lackluster performance, but 8.2 has reinvigorated them, and it's looking like M2KC are going to go head-to-head in the upper final if it keeps up at this pace. Can the Windwalker Death Knight of Resurgent overcome a 2-point deficit? They have to win 3 games in a row to be able to make it and advance to face the Move tomorrow. Otherwise, they're going down to the lower bracket. They're going to have to keep playing it out, and that lower bracket is filled with sharks in the water, with our top point earners already down there just waiting in the wings.
Ooh, a nice interrupt there by Valito, shutting down that opener, but they're just going for Colo once again. Colo actually changed up his talents. He's playing Renewal now, so has a little bit more of a safety net to keep himself alive. Uses the bar skin, anti-magic zone trades out as well, but that wasn't Vendetta. So there's still an offensive push here on the side of M2KC. You can see Rubcub still has the Avenging Wrath. Colo is still in danger.
Yep, next swap, they can pop Vendetta or Avenging Crusader. Likely going to be the strategy there. Maybe they go after Zach and use Blessing of Protection. They try and bait a Trinket. They get the Trinket from Colo, so now they're going to probably kill him. That should be the line, although they're still attacking Zach. They stack up for a double stun. Could be a scary moment for Jamili here. How are M2KC going to respond? They want to hold on to Avenging Crusader as long as possible, but they're forced to use it. Now Robocub's moving over. They get the Polymorph. They catch Colo off guard. I mean, this could just be it for Zach. This could just be it in the upper bracket for Resurgent if he is not careful. Pops that Fortifying Brew. Doesn't want to rely on Touch of Karma. It could be immediately removed. Will he be able to stay alive? He's dropped Ring of Frost. He's line of sighting back with Colo, waiting for Colo to get out of that Hammer of Justice, but now Dragon's Breath. Glidier's Maledict incoming. Zach going to diffuse magic that. Pop the Fists of Fury and Touch of Death. Big damage potentially onto Jamili, but Rubcub looks like he's more than ready for it. Glider Safeguard gets procced. They spell steal that off. Colo in position to try and pick him up. Catches a couple heals onto Zach with Iron Bark and stays alive. Resurgent get out of that stressful situation. Still with a lot of defense available, but M2K's pressure is quite insane.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage, and I mean, look at Zach. He's running, he's hiding. No Blessing of Protection going to be available. Zach has to keep himself alive. Jamili's still looking for crowd control onto Colo. Unable to find it. Valito doing a good job separating Jamili from the rest of his team, making sure he has Chains of Ice up. He's death gripping him away, and it makes it really difficult for Jamili to actually land the crowd control and damage that he needs. Zach still under fire. There's a lot of damage available. Look at Jamili. He's got Combustion and Meteor. There's a big hit. The next full stun on Zach. They might be able to take him down, and there's no Trinket from Colo. He's not going to be able to keep him alive. We need a preemptive Iron Bark or an anti-magic zone that's now available from Valito. So Resurgent has to be careful. M2KC, they're firing on all cylinders. They have pressure all over the place. Right now, everyone's sort of stabilized, but still a dangerous moment for Resurgent.
All right, let's see if they can hold on. So far, not too much pressure really thrown M2KC's way. They still have a lot of defense. They still got a lot of mana. There are a lot more close calls, I would say, for Resurgent early on. And then when we get into dampening as well, what happens? Does that pressure just overwhelm them? They're on match point. They can't afford to go down here. M2KC would advance in the upper bracket. Rubcub's charging forward. Zach is a bit overextended. Kolo's trying to get over to his aid, but Fortifying Brew has to trade regardless due to this overextension. Bit of an overlap with the anti-magic zone. I mean, they're trying to go 1-for-1 with the combustion, but is Jamili running the fire starter build? He is. So combustion isn't going to line up with the anti-magic zone. I don't think it was necessary there. Now that defense won't be available if they switch to Kolo. They got his Gladiator's Medallion, Vendetta, and Avenging Crusader are available. If they don't go after Kolo in this next stun, it's the biggest mistake I've seen in the AWC. They should just... Kolo should just outright die, I think, in the next stun lock if they catch him. But instead, they go after Zach. I guess they could kill Zach, too. He still doesn't have much defense either. Diffuse Magic, Gladiator, Safeguard. Really kill anyone at this point. But I feel like
backpedaling. Zach could easily just fall. That didn't look like
whatever.
A mistake.
This was just guaranteed victory at this point.
It was mistake in AWC
It was checkmate either way, okay?
No.
Checkmate either way.
Oh,
Just because they won didn't mean they couldn't win easier going the other way.
Well, he had renewal, so I'm not sure about that one, Sid.
Okay, let's save the day a little bit. Just say that M2KC were dominating 3-0 victory here over Resurgent, and I mean, considering Resurgent won the first cup and have had like a pretty good performance, you know, they made it to the spring finals. M2KC to pull off this victory is absolutely insane, and they looked like a completely different team here, Zico.
Well, M2KC in general has been on the up and up. I feel like they are the team to beat right now. I don't see really anyone except maybe the Move being able to actually win them in a best of 5. They've been doing good against Cloud9. They've been doing good against the boys. Been doing good against Resurgent. They've been doing good against Method Orange. So I feel like M2KC are really on the up and up, and it's looking like anybody can qualify for this summer finals event here. But yeah, towards the end here, they land a kick onto Kolo. They get a nice kidney shot onto Zach. Follow that up with a Hammer of Justice. Of course, because they overlapped anti-magic zone and the Touch of Karma earlier on, they're not going to have that anti-magic zone available right now. Jamili kleps off that safeguard, and then Rubcub and Roasties, they just chase down for the kill there. Iron Bark, not going to be enough there, coming in way too late.
Yeah, I'm just starting to look at the point standings a little bit. Well, let's get the bracket first, because the bracket obviously is the most important. Championship Sunday, we've got 2 teams that will be going through to that. M2KC with a 3-0 victory there.